Good morning. Okay, it's August 10th. We're going to do our coffee talk this morning. I'm super, super excited. We're going to talk all about meal planning. So, first, let's tell you though, this coffee talk is being sponsored by Shakeology and Daily Sunshine because why not? We're talking about meal planning, and those are two literally the easiest things that you can put into your meal plan. So, and the healthiest. So we have Shakeology, which comes in like 9 different flavors. I'll show you these. I have just a couple here. We have chocolate, which is my favorite, vegan chocolate, vegan vanilla, vegan cafe latte, vegan tropical strawberry. Then we have all the way ones, cafe latte, chocolate, vanilla, strawberry. They are amazing. And literally, I've been drinking Shakeology for over 9 years. It has been the staple of my daily meal plan for over 9 years. And everybody always comes up to me and is like, how do you have so much energy? Well, I do drink a little bit of caffeine, but it comes from Shakeology. That's where my energy comes from because I very rarely get sick. I am able to keep up with my kids. I have lots of energy, and it comes from my nutrition. And a huge part of my nutrition is Shakeology. Now, for kids, by the way, it's also the easiest meal I make every single day. For kids, where is it? We have Daily Sunshine. Daily Sunshine comes in 2 flavors. We have strawberry banana flavor, and then we have chocolate flavor. And it's funny because each kid is totally different. And just like Shakeology, you have to like play around with the flavors and see how you can get them to like it. But it is so worth doing. My young one, my almost 20-month-old, he loves having his shake, and he goes shake, shake, shake. It's so funny. And I just mix it up with almond milk for him, shake it up in his little cup. The 2 older ones, the 10-year-old and the 6-year-old, they like things blended up. They like banana or peanut butter, and they like to do it themselves. So start with half a serving, see how they like it, play around with it, and get them to drink it. Reason being to get them to drink it. This is like the perfect meal or snack for them when they get home from school. Because, kids are always ravenous when they get home from school. So this is perfect for them because you can give it to them, have them drink it, and if they're still hungry, then they can get a snack, So give them the nutrition first. This has organic veggies and fruit in it. So if your kids are even having a hard time eating veggies, this is perfect. Has fruit in it, flaxseed, so good healthy fats in there, and it tastes really good. Okay, so that's Daily Sunshine. Plus, it's an easy go-to for meal planning, right? So that's huge. Okay, so let me talk to you a little bit about my experience with meal planning. I love that my girlfriend Kaylee's on here because whenever I think meal planning, who's good at meal planning, I think of her, right? Well, I've been a coach for a long time now, probably like 5 years. And I've always considered myself like, I love food. And it's true. Like my friends, we go out to eat, and sometimes our friends take us out to eat just to listen to us eat because we're like, oh, this is so good. But I have never considered myself great at meal planning. And people used to ask me all the time, what do you do to meal plan? And I've always kind of shied away from the topic because I never felt like I truly mastered it myself. And I had a hard time with that. It was like I had a problem with confidence with it, with my challengers, and my customers, because I wasn't that great at it. And I was really, really good at wasting food and throwing it away, going grocery shopping, and I was really good at sticking to my food list. Like I wouldn't buy anything off of my food list. But what would happen is I'd bring home my food and I'd fill up the fridge, and throughout the week, I just would lose so much energy, motivation to make the dinner that I planned. You know what I mean? So, so then that food would go to waste, and I'd end up picking up like Chick-fil-A or order in from Panera. I would never take my kids out to eat because I can't stand taking everybody out to eat, but I would order in all the time. And then the food that I did buy would go to waste. And it ended up being a really big issue. But I'm going to pull up my notes so I don't get off topic. But over the last literally 10 weeks since I started 80-Day Obsession, I really made a commitment to me and to my family to figure this thing out, right? So I want to make sure I'm staying on. Yeah. So I'd be exhausted. I wouldn't want to make dinner. Oh, the other thing is a lot of people are like, prep your food on the weekends. And I used to be like, I don't want to take 4 hours out and prep my food on the weekends. That's like the time I have with my family. I don't want to take it out of my schedule. Does that make sense? Because over the weekend, that's when we get to be together. So that used to drive me nuts too when people would say that. So over the last 10 weeks, I have found little things that I have done to make my life so much easier. And my husband's on the call now too, and he can tell you if he unmutes himself how little we have ordered out now, how much money we've saved from not throwing food away and from eating out less. And he's super excited because he comes home from work and dinner's made. And that used to happen probably half the amount of time. So he's excited about this too. And so I'm going to share with you a couple of little tips that I've picked up along the way. And it's really, honestly, it's nothing earth-shattering at all. And it's really way simpler than it sounds. It's like not sexy at all. But it has saved us so much time and money and frustration, really. Because the other thing that would happen is I would make this meal plan, I'd be all about it, and then because we're ordering out, I wasn't eating to my goals. And so I wasn't losing the weight that I wanted to lose. I was stuck. I would be stuck for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, months sometimes, not losing any of the excess weight that I really wanted to lose. Now I'm down 35-ish, maybe 34-ish pounds. And I'm just so much happier because I'm less overwhelmed and less frustrated. So if you feel overwhelmed and frustrated, this is for you. And if you feel like you're falling off plan of like your meal planning, having a hard time with that, this is for you too. So here's a couple things. One, I want you to have an open mind when we talk about this, because you can't change things about your life if you're not willing to open up and be ready to do things that you're either uncomfortable with or just don't totally agree with. I remember I was like stuck years ago. I was stuck in this like, you need to eat less carbs mode to lose weight. But once I opened up my mind and decided that I was going to try and really like dive in to a different meal plan, that's when I started making results. So open up your mind. Okay. What do you want? Oh, what do you want out of this? Like write down what is your reasoning for doing this? Because that's going to help you too. It's going to help you open your mind also. Another thing that I had to realize is I don't need to be a gourmet cook every night. Like I love food so much that I wanted food to be like, dinners needed to be amazing, like really amazing. 20 ingredients, lots of spices. Don't get me wrong, I still use lots of spices, but I really wanted it to be amazing. Lots of recipes. And let me tell you, recipes became the death of executing my meal plan. So we'll talk about that in a minute also. So here's what I need you to do. Write this down, because every time you sit down to make a meal plan, by the way, I didn't meal plan yet for this weekend, so I'm doing this on the phone with you. You're going to need a couple things, and make sure that you have this checklist every time you sit down, because the more you do this and the more you stick to your checklist, the faster this is going to become. The first time it might take a little bit of time. Second time a little bit less. Third a little bit less. By the end of like 6 weeks of you doing this, you're going to be a pro and you're going to be able to do it very, very quickly. So one thing that you need is your family calendar. 2, so if that's on your phone, grab your phone. 2, you need the food list, and I'll show you there's 2, like we have 2 programs that we use for nutrition. You can do the Portion Fix food list. If you can't find this in the Ultimate Portion Fix, look up 21 Day Fix and go into the worksheets and go under nutrition. You'll find this. I love that it's on one page. Or if you are a To Be Mindsetter, I love this My Go-To To Be Mindset guide. I think that has the food list in it as well. So grab that, okay? So you have your food list. So that's 2. 3, grab 2 pieces of blank paper. I personally made these, and I can give them to you if you want. I have, because I'm doing 80-day obsession, I have this to help me meal plan. It just shows each meal I need to figure out and the containers. And then this is just my grocery list outline where I fill it in for my grocery list. But 2 blank pieces of paper, a pen, you might want a highlighter, I'll explain that in a minute, and optionally grab a computer or you can grab your books. So this is the To Be Mindset recipes, or you can grab your Fixate cookbooks. These are amazing. I love, 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 love them. You can grab the 75 healthy lunches for kids. I keep everything all together. So when I sit down, I get it done very quickly. Also, we have the Fixate cooking show, which is amazing. The recipes are so good and designed by a professional chef, and they're amazing. Trust me, they're so good. They're better than they even look, seriously. And that's all you need. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna sit down. First thing, and you're probably only gonna do this once or twice, but you grab your list. Okay, so if you're brand new at this, or if you're just trying to like revamp what you do, grab your food list and get your highlighter and start highlighting the things you love. And when it comes to these food lists, the faster you want to lose weight or get progress, whatever it is that you're doing, the cleaner that you want to eat, you want to stick to the top like third of the food list. The healthier things are at the top, the least healthy things are at the bottom. I especially only eat like the very top of the yellow food list. So anyway, that is something that you can do. You can take your highlighter, go through, pick out the things that you like, right? From there, I love when it comes to like ultimate portion fix, I love giving myself a guide that I have to stick to, because I find that if I don't do that, I don't really do well with the containers. So what do I mean? In Timed Nutrition, she's already done it for you. She's taken the containers that you get for the day and she splits them up per the meal. Now that sounds like it might be more difficult, but to me, it was exactly what I needed to be able to stick to the containers, right? I needed to know exactly what containers for each meal so that I'm not focusing on my daily goal, I'm focusing on that meal, right? So that has made a huge, like literally the difference for me when it comes to following the containers. In To Be Mindset, she does it for you too. She tells you which containers, or not containers, which categories to eat for each meal. I find that it's easier to concentrate on one meal and one time frame than it is to look at the whole day. So before, when I was doing containers, I was like checking off boxes throughout the day. That was too much. It was like kind of like counting calories or whatever. I didn't like that. So I like when I just focus on that meal and I know what to eat for that one meal. So even if you're not following Timed Nutrition, you might want to do that for yourself for the week and kind of see how it works out. Give yourself 4 or 5 meals throughout the day and take your containers and put them where you want before you even think about the food, right? Now, this is where the simplicity comes in. When you're filling in your meals, so this is last week's meal guide for me, okay? See how simple that is? It does not have to be pretty. Another mindset thing that you got to keep in mind. Pinterest is pretty, Instagram is pretty, but it's not real life. So some of the problems that we think, like when in our heads, we're like meal planning, it's got to look gorgeous, it's got to be perfect. Like just take that out of your head and make it as simple as freaking possible, okay? So writing on a blank piece of paper what you might want for the week is way better than taking too much time and actually not doing it, or thinking too much about it, or not executing it, okay? So make it as simple as possible. So me personally, I'll show you what I do, right? And then you can give me any tips that you guys are getting and working on, or that's working for you. Okay, so for me, this is my last week. I have a pre-workout meal and a post-workout meal. I found an egg muffin recipe that I totally love. I've been eating it now every single day for the last 10 weeks. I do have variety in my meals. I definitely do. But when I have 1 or 2 staple meals that I love and can stick with over and over and over again, now I've just taken the work I need every single week and cut it in half to making my meal plan. And so these 2 meals, my pre-workout meal and my post-workout meal, have been literally the same 4 weeks. And then when I decide to change it up, I can change it up. It's no big deal. But that takes half of the work out of my meal planning. So one of them, my pre-workout meal, is my egg cups. It's got eggs, it's got turkey bacon, quinoa, and it has spinach in it. And it has a teaspoon of oil when I'm cooking stuff, right? So that's my pre-workout meal. My post-workout meal is my Shakeology, and then I put spinach in it, and I use unsweetened almond milk, and then I also put a side of oats, steel cut oats, that I can make in like a big batch for the week. So right there, and honestly, those are the only two things I prep on the weekend. I make my egg muffins and I make my oats, and that's it, literally. That starts my day off so well, and I feel like if you start your day off without even thinking or having to do anything, it helps you a ton to stick with it the rest of the week. So those are lots of big tips there. Okay, so then next one. So if you can think of one or two things that you can keep the same, Shakeology should be a staple always. If you can think of that same meal throughout the next couple weeks, just try it out for a couple weeks and see how you like it. That'll help you with meal planning. Okay, so then my next meal is meal one. I need a green, a purple, a red, and a teaspoon. I gave myself 2 options for the week to be able to stick to. On here, I have banana pancakes, which is literally just a banana and 2 eggs. Mix it up, put it on the pan, and cook it. That's it. That's all banana pancakes are. And then I have celery and almond butter, right? So that's an option that I wrote on there. My other option is leftovers, and I make enough dinner so that it sits in my fridge and I have leftovers. And I'll talk about the dinners I make in a minute. So I make sure that I'm doing more work, like the work at night, for the next day. If I'm already making dinner, I might as well double the recipe and then eat it throughout the week. You know what I mean? And I will be cognizant of what I need. So if at dinner, for example, if at dinner I needed a yellow, but I know when I'm going to be eating this the next day during lunchtime, if I don't need a yellow for those lunchtime, I only make the amount of yellow I need for that night. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. Okay. Meal number 2. So those 2 options were leftovers or these banana pancakes. The thing about those is that they're very, very, very quick to make, and I can keep those things on hand for a long period of time. I can keep bananas and I can keep eggs for a long period of time. Celery also and almond butter, no big deal. Meal number 2, I need a green, a red, a purple, a yellow, a blue, a teaspoon. This is my favorite meal because it's my biggest meal. I love it. I also give myself 2 options. I can take some of last night's meal and make it into a salad. That's always an awesome option if I don't feel like eating like roasted veggies or whatever. The other option is to make sure that you have roasted veggies or frozen veggies that you can throw in the microwave for the next meal. I really use a lot of leftovers in my meals, a ton. Now there's 2 different ways to meal prep. Over the weekend, you can do like, make every single meal and have it. You've seen those pictures of like everybody has a container. They have the perfect amount of meals. Listen, if that is the way that you want to do things, you most definitely can. And everybody's different. So just because I don't like doing it that way doesn't mean you won't like doing it that way. So a lot of this is going to be trial and error for you, but you got to stick to it and try it because it'll take only a couple weeks and you'll figure out what you love. Me personally, I'd rather things be in, like, I'd call it family style, in containers in the fridge, and I can just pick and choose what I want, what I'm in the mood for. So in that recipe, that meal, that's what I do. I pick and choose as I go. And then dinners. Dinners are important for me because I double them up and put them in the fridge for my leftovers for the next couple meals. So here's the biggest thing. When you are starting, and even when you're not starting, like I'm still doing this and I'm in love with it. My family's in love with it because dinner's actually made and it's not taking me a ton of time. I am staying away from things like casseroles and things where the food is all mixed together. I'm trying to keep it as simple as absolutely possible. So all my meals, if you look at them, are super simple and very, very quick. And no recipes. Once in a while I add 1 or 2 recipes just to see if I can get a staple out of it, but if it's a recipe, it's probably going to be a special occasion. Okay, so I'm going to read off what I have on here. This is so simple, guys. salmon, Brussels sprouts, and potatoes. That's it. Like, that's my meal plan. And when I pull out the salmon, I make the salmon how I know how I like salmon. I squirt some mustard on it. I put a tiny bit of maple syrup on it, and I stick it in the oven. Brussels sprouts, I cut them in half and spray them with olive oil. Red potatoes, I cut them in quarters and I spray them with olive oil, salt, pepper, garlic, right? And I put it all in the oven at 450 until it's done. So like, that is a super, super simple meal, right? I use those baking sheets all the time, the big ones, all the time. It's all, I use them every single day, right? And I make extra. Next day, I have burgers, sweet potato fries, onions and mushrooms, and tomato and cucumbers. So it's just cutting the stuff up, but nothing's being marinated. Nothing's being fancy. I'm not frying anything. I'm putting it all in the oven except for the burgers I put on the stove. All of these meals are taking me less than 20 minutes to make. Okay, so think about it. If you're out at work all day long, you don't want to come home and make something that takes 45 minutes. You want to make something that's really, really quick. So all these things are super quick. Shrimp, the next day, shrimp, pesto pasta, broccoli, and pine nuts. Now, a lot of people have been asking me for this recipe because I posted the picture. It's super easy. I steam the broccoli while I put the shrimp in the oven under the broiler, and I boil the pasta, and that's it. And then I just use my containers to put it on my plate. So it's 1 cup of broccoli, 1 red of the shrimp, what else? Half a cup of the pasta, and then I use an orange of the pine nuts and a teaspoon of the pesto sauce. It looks beautiful. It tastes amazing, but it's super, super quick to make. So I want you to stick with things like that. I'm not going to go over the whole thing, but just little tips from me personally that I realized is I love food. I love recipes. I love cooking, but I had to make it more functional than, oh my God, everything has to taste amazing. And what I found is that the simpler I get, things do taste more amazing. So sticking with things that are super, super, super quick to make, things that the reason why they're quick is because you've made them 8 million times in a row and you already know what you're doing. You're like, I know how to make a burger. That is quick. I can do it. I know how to make salmon, for me, because I do that all the time. Maybe that's not for you. Maybe you know how to make tacos and they're really, really quick and you can just chop up the stuff or buy the lettuce already chopped and the tomatoes and you have a taco bar. Like, you can turn these things into what you need for your meal plan super easily. So think of the things that you make or have made throughout your life and you make them all the time, and then just revamp them into your meal plan. So one more example. I looked up, I knew I had 2 things available to me and I had to look them up. I think it was tilapia and I wanted like coconut flakes on it. So I looked up a recipe real quick, just in Google, tilapia, coconut, found a recipe, and just took the things out that I knew wouldn't work and baked it how I knew how to. I just needed the flavors. I needed the coconut in it and to see what else would be what would mix well in it. Is it soy sauce? Like, what do people mix together with coconut? And then put that with my meal. So like, be creative, use your brain. Guys, you are way smarter than you think you are in the kitchen. When people say that they don't know how to cook, they're usually lying to themselves. You know how to cook something. So make what you are good at and just revamp it, and it'll be super quick, super easy. And then once a week or twice a week, you can try a new recipe just to see if it's something that you want to put in rotation in your meals. I really hope that helps. I know it's not sexy. It's really simple. But keep in mind this cycle, okay? We have belief, we have action, and we have identity change. And if you have always said things like, I'm not good at meal planning, or I'm not good at food prep, or whatever it is, you need to start giving yourself like a pep talk. You can be good at it. You just have to work at it. Let's work on this. Let's do this together. We got this, right? Be your own coach. Talk to yourself like you would talk to your kids when they say they're bad at something. And that's cycle will change. As you give yourself a little bit more belief and you take a little bit action, you'll have an identity change. Oh, I am good at meal planning. I am a meal planner. I do food prep. I am healthy. I'm a healthy eater. Like, just keep that cycle going. And that's what your coach is for. That's what a success partner is for. If you are looking for one, let me know. Maybe we can do a success pod to find people. But that's what you need to do. You just got to get the ball moving. So move it and start creating and start working on it. That's really all I got for you today. Do you have any questions? Or suggestions? Suggestions might work well. No? Okay, good. Have an awesome day, guys. Hope you have an awesome Saturday and a great weekend. I'll talk to you later. Bye.